What's up guys? Thanks for tuning in here. For today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Kingdom Voyager class Dinobot. This figure again is exciting because it's the first Dinobot figure in the main line. I think in the past 12 years, I think the Universe one came out in like 2009. And we've had the Masterpiece one since then, but I'm not made of money, so I don't have the Masterpiece. So I just have this guy right here and the original Universe one, which I kind of misplaced and don't have him for the comparison of this video. But don't worry, it's not necessary. It's not much of a comparison. But yeah, today we're taking a look at Dinobot, and this dude is really, really neat. I know there's some contention to his Velociraptor mode and all of that, and I really actually have no contention with the Velociraptor mode. It's really just with the some of the tab tolerances trying to transform him. He has one of those transformations where you have to do everything a very specific way, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and dive into his details. Dinobot sculpted detail is incredible. I like it a lot. So you can see kind of the texture in the skin for the Velociraptor mode all down here in the chest. Also, this is really neat because this right here is the original Velociraptor head, and these are faux parts that kind of spread it out because the original model would be kind of impossible because how it like widens and flats out. So that's really cool how they did that. But all the sculpted detail on the raptor skin and everything, it looks beautiful. I think it looks great. If you go down here, he has like texture on his knees and everything all the way around. He just looks really, really nice everywhere you look at him. No part of him looks plain or dull. But the really, I guess, star attraction here for the sculpt, in my opinion, is the head. This head sculpt is freaking beautiful. Oh, I love this a lot. It's sharp. It literally looks like it walked out of the cartoon. It emotes just like him. It really, really just carries that character of Dinobot. Halfway pissed off, half honorable. I love this a lot. He's got really nice, good paint in there. It's kind of hard to see the eyes in this lighting, but they are red. Sorry, it's kind of blown out. But the blue is just perfect, and the orange plastic that they have it casted in is just wonderful. I really love this head sculpt. His sculpting detail is pristine. Dinobot does come with a few accessories here. He has his tail that becomes the gun and also whip weapon. If you want to combine these into the tail, you just plug this in with the opening, with the handle for his hand. And then there are two little holes right here and then two posts on the inside. Fold those up and then you kind of have to align them a little bit with your fingers. It gets easier after the first few times you do it, so you don't have to like force it or anything. But he has his tail weapons with a little, thing poking out there. Hi, Dinobot. You happy to see me? But these are his weapons, so you can just split this apart again, pull out the sword. This just has a 5mm peg on the back, and both of his hands have these holes in the front. So kind of just how you saw him pose there in the beginning, you can put him in both. I guess if you wanted to, you can also, yeah, it can spin, so that's kind of fun. It has no spinning mechanism, but if you want to, you can just hold it there, and that's cool. I think that's fun. Also, with the 5mm peg in the center to store the sword, you can use the Siege Blast effect, so you can have him shooting fools left and right. And then also the square peg over here works as his handle for the sword. So there's also been some discrepancy about the sword color. Some people think it should be silver. Some people are fine with purple, but it shouldn't be this purple. I'm biased. Purple is my favorite color. I really don't care. I know it's not a real sword, and I understand why it's purple. It's because in some shots of the show, it has a purplish tinge to it that makes it look like it's reflecting and actually is a chrome purple or something. I don't care. If it really is an issue, people can paint it, and I think it's one of those things where no matter what, with that tip that pops out of the bottom of the tail down here, it's not really going to look normal no matter what unless you paint it brown, and I don't really want the sword to be brown, so purple, the sword is going to stay. Now, I do apologize, I don't have my Universe Dinobot mold handy, so here's just him with a photo of that Dinobot. The scale is off because the original Dinobot is a deluxe class, and there really is just no comparison. I looked for it for about 20 minutes and I gave up because there's no comparison with this new Dinobot. I want to say the old Dinobot, the one cool thing he does do is that he has the rotating faction symbol on his chest and the Dino head, or the Velociraptor head, where it can rotate between Predacon or Maximal or just standard, like forehead. So I think that's really cool detail, but other than that, if you guys are curious about a comparison, here he is with just Voyager class Optimus Primal from the line. Just to see how these two guys kind of scale up. I think these two look really good together. I remember Dinobot kind of towering over him in the show when they're fighting for leadership, they're trying to go at it. So I think these guys look really, really good together. I think they did a good job trying to capture these guys. I know some people think that the arms are a little long for Dinobot, and I definitely do think they're long, but I think they're long in a good way. I think they really lend themselves. I mean, he also has long arms too, kind of just to the gorilla aesthetic of the design. So I'm not too bothered by it, but here are these two guys and how they scale up together. My dude Dinobot does have some really nice articulation. It has on a ball joint, so it's going to go up and down. It's going to rotate 360 degrees. You can also get some nice, like, cock out of that head, get some like, what the hell are you doing? I think that's really fun and emotive. The arms are on hinges. They're going to rotate 360 degrees. They go in and out that much, and they go all the way up for the transformation. That is really, really nice. The biceps rotate 360 degrees. Because of his arms being like his dino legs and where they have to move and everything, there's just really nice joint systems in here to allow for the transformation, which also just gives some really nice arm articulation. The elbows, they go backward, but they go forward. The elbows are also supposed to, the forearms were rather supposed to go like this. I've transformed it a few times with a gap there. No, that gap definitely goes on the inside. His hand or his wrists rotate 360. His wrists go left and right. And then also the claws on his hands are hinged, so they can open and close. Really fun stuff. His waist is going to rotate 360 degrees. His legs are on hinges. They're going to go forward and they're going to go backward that much. They don't go back too much because you have this, which is kind of, I don't know the part of the dinosaur, but it's the front of the belly of the velociraptor, I suppose. The thighs are going to rotate. They rotate 360, but they kind of go up at this lip, so they get knocked, so you're going to have to rotate it. They are double jointed, or I'm sorry, they're not double jointed, I'm an idiot. They're single jointed. They go backward that much. And then what is double jointed are his ankles, because they pivot downward like that and they go in and outward like this. So, and his heels, they can go in and out because of the transformation. I don't really know why you would, but yeah, this dude's got wonderful articulation. Like, he's just kind of crazy. He's always he's one of those figures that kind of always seems like he's in a pose or in like a halfway motion, which I really enjoy. When a figure is that fluid and smooth to kind of handle and pose, it's always a good sign. Now, Dinobot here, kind of like I said earlier, does have a very interesting transformation, but he does have one of those where steps kind of have to be done in a specific order, or else something's going to get in the way or not really be done entirely correctly. So hopefully that's easier to follow, and hopefully that warning is for it. So in order to get this started, you're going to go ahead and grab his sword, grab this guy right here, plug it in. Like I said earlier, he's going to use those posts, plug it on in, use his little uncircumcised tail here, set it off to the side, and we can go ahead and get started with him. got Dinobot in his Dinobot mode, and yeah, I want to go ahead and say right here, I've had some issues with this. Sometimes when I transform it, it's good, sometimes it's bad, but there is a connection in here where this little post sits into these two sliders, and then this little tab underneath here. None of this really clicks together for me. It all just kind of, oh, see, there it does, kind of, and then it comes apart. So I think some people have some better tolerances on that for their copies. This isn't something I'm too worried about, but just a heads up, both of mine are kind of like this. So sometimes when I transform it, the tolerances allow these to stay together easier. Sometimes, like right now, because I'm recording, obviously, it's not going to let me do it. So just a heads up there. And then also, you will see his little tip sticking out the back of his tail. So again, some people are going to be really bothered by this. I know that this is a toy that turns into a robot, so I'm not super disappointed, but I do see why people have kind of a complaint about this. So hey, what can you do? Again, you can always paint this brown, totally up to you. But here is the figure. I think his paint detail is really good. I think it's kind of funny that he's got these like orange balls hanging out at the front of his chest. Kind of looks like, you know. Hey, what are you gonna do? I think the color and the way they mixed in the paint on here, with the stripes and everything, looks really good. So that kind of distracts my eye away from that gold poking out of his front. But hey, again, it's a really nice like wrinkly detail down here. One thing I do think is funny is his eyes. The eyes on mine, they both look normal, except so you can see this one's kind of pointed that way. And if you turn it over here, this one's kind of pointed straight ahead. So if you look at them straight on, the pupils are kind of they're facing the same way, but one of them is more up and one of them is more down. So yeah, he looks a little doofy. For his articulation in Dino mode, his legs, they can go outward because of that transformation, but I mean, it looks a little weird, but they can go outward. What I think sucks is they can't rotate at the hip, and I didn't know this, but I do think that is kind of unfortunate, but I can also see how they weren't able to have that do it with all the hinges that have to collapse over the hip on this dino leg over here. So I'm not too bothered by it, but something that did kind of blindside me taken out of the box. He does have knees, so his knees are going to go forward and backward, and then his dino legs are just his robot mode arms, so they have all that same articulation in the toes and everything like that. And then he has itty bitty velociraptor arms up here. A lot of people have really complained about these, said they look really stupid, like he's having his nails dried and everything. I don't care. It looks like he did in the cartoon from what I can tell. Yeah, it'd be cool if these were more claw-ish, but I see why they're flat, because the way he transforms, these fold up into his body, so they would have to be flat. So again, I'm not really bothered. It doesn't destroy the rest of the toy for me. But again, his face sculpt and his paint all looks really good. His head can move up and down. It's a little tight. It's really awkward because it has this like weird stop joint that snaps it down, so it might be awkward for you, but to get the mouth open, that's how you do it. Bring it down and then just bring up the top of the head. And you can open the mouth, and the mouth has that same like weird stop where it like locks it, and I think again it's just because of that transformation to get the head down. But anyway, the mouth does open. There it is, and you can see some paint on the inside. He's got a red tongue and all that, and his teeth are painted. So I really like the Dino mode. I think it looks great. I think what the Kingdom figures really have to succeed in is making fun but also nice looking dinosaur modes, and I think these all absolutely kind of hit that mark. So I'm not really disappointed with him at all, at least as far as this is concerned. I think really more so than the hands or his uncircumcised tail, I think the thing that bothers me most is no outward movement up or down on the hips. But hey, what can you do? And for anybody curious here he is with another Predacon dino from the line. Here he is with T-Rex Megatron. And this Megatron is a freaking monster. I covered that in my video of him, but here these guys are together. And I think it's really cool to have two Predacons together. Now, obviously, in the lore, Dinobot does become a Maximal, so, I mean, that's totally fine. But this toy is being marketed as a Predacon, and I think that has to do with the fact that there's, 3 Predacons in the whole line, which is kind of a problem. So, I mean, come on, Hasbro. I know we're getting Scorponok, but give me Inferno, give me Tarantulas, give me Pterosaur. Let's beef up these Predacon numbers. These are rookie numbers. Got to pump up those numbers. All in all, Dinobot is a really nice toy. I think the robot mode absolutely blows it out of the water, and while the Dino mode has a couple hiccups like no hip movement or anything like that, and this little tail back here, it's nothing that destroys the figure for me. There's going to have to be compromises made, especially on retail toys, and I don't have the Masterpiece one to be able to compare him to, so it is what it is, and I think this figure is really good for what it is, being an updated Dinobot 12 years later after we were left with that kind of hinky universe one for so many years. So I'm really enjoying this, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about Dinobot here. If you guys have any questions about him, maybe something I didn't cover in the video specifically, please feel free to leave a comment in the section down below. I'd be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. Please like this video if you enjoyed this content, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.